Hey there, Sterile Processing Universe. I'm Brandon from Beyond Clean, and I want to welcome you to the Beyond Clean Mailbag Series video, where you put us on the spot with your questions. If you've got a question that you want us to answer, there's a few ways you can send it our way. You can send us a message to Facebook or Instagram using the handle @BeyondCleanPodcast. Or you can send us an email to info@beyondclean.net. If you want your question to be featured on a Mailbag Series video, make sure you type mailbag into the subject line of your email or into the body of the direct message on the social media platform. With all that said, let's get to this episode of Beyond Clean Mailbag.
Hey, Sterile Processing Universe, it's Hank Balch here with Beyond Clean, and we're on another episode of the Mailbag. And for today's question, we got in, what is the rule about touching items before they cool on a steam cart? And I'm going to kick this one over to Lisa first.
Okay, so the material that's used in wrapped items acts as sort of a smart cloth. The textured fibers are woven in a way so that during the sterilization process, the fibers actually relax and the pores open, allowing steam penetration in and around all the items inside and through the packages in the load so that the sterilant comes in direct contact with all the surfaces. When the load is pulled out to cool, humidity is emanating off the packages. As the packages come down to room temperature, the pores close, sealing in the sterile field inside. If we touch the package while it's still warm, the oils and contaminants on our hands are wicked inside the pores. From there, microorganisms proliferate inside the package before it is used on the next patient.
Yeah, and I love that explanation because this is actually one of the first frustrations with scrub techs that I had to address in my first management job because I had a number of scrub techs. Our SPD was right next to the OR, so we had scrub techs coming in and going out all the time. And when they needed something, it was very common for them to walk over to the sterile cart, the cart that had just come out of the sterilizer, pick a device up and say, is this sterile? Can I have this now? And, they're touching it with their hands. And of course I'm like, not anymore. What are you doing? And so in order to kind of demonstrate why this is unacceptable, thankfully, Amy has this specific explanation in ST79. You can find it in section 10.3.1 in the rationale section. And, honestly, sometimes parts of Amy's rationale aren't really well described. This one is perfect, and I love it. It says, this little section says, packages should not be touched until they are cool because a hand can act as a point of condensation for the warm water vapor emanating from the package, thereby creating a moist area on the outside of the package. This moist area can act as a wick to draw bacteria from your hands into the package. So that just lines it out perfectly. I gave this explanation to the surgical techs at one of our OR meetings, and sure enough, the problem started to go away. I'd love to tell you that all of them got it immediately, but it did cut down on the problem by a good 85%. So I can tell you this is one area the standards will help you out, and they're very well explained.
I'm starting to think that Mike and I had the exact same surgical techs because I had the exact same problem.
Yes.
But not only that, but when my techs in sterile processing, I would ask them, so how do you know when the instruments are safe to touch? And they would use the back of their hand to touch it. And I was like, oh, don't do that. So yeah, I would definitely recommend that you have like an infrared gun for your staff to actually check the temperature of the items while it's cooling so that you can have a standard that it must reach before they touch it. That would be great for your staff, but not only for surgical techs, like to Mike's point, to make sure that everyone is on that same education loop.
Mm-hmm. And real quick, I love the temperature gun answer because generally what you have if you don't have the temperature gun is you come up with sort of like an arbitrary number that's, like 2 hours. And that doesn't necessarily always work out because if you've got a cart full of very small instrument sets, it may not take 2 hours. But if you've got a cart that's full of nothing but orthopedic loaners, it might take 3 or 4 hours. So, again, the more that you can add that objective measurement, like a temperature gun, to your process, the better.
So to close this one out, I want to throw in a bonus question, though, for that temperature gun, because I know that's going to be the next question we get. So what temperature should it be? Like, Brandon, you brought it up. Is there a specific temperature out there in the standards that folks need to refer to?
Well, I do know I've seen, especially with 3M, they've stated that the temperature should be roughly 75 degrees or room temperature. But there is that caveat in Amy that it's going to depend on your location. So it takes some critical thinking and kind of measurements of your internal facility's temperatures, where you're going to store that tray. How cold is the rack you're going to transport it to? So somewhere around room temperature within your facility. Here at Beyond Clean, we are privileged to bring you excellent sterile processing content every single week. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a future video, and hit that like button to let us know you appreciate the content. If you've thought of that question you want to send our way, here's the ways you can hit us up. Thanks for watching and spending time with us, and we'll catch you in the next video.